Hello and welcome to Middle East Focus. On May 14th, exactly 68 years ago, the State of Israel was established. Today, we'll discuss the sometimes contradictory narratives around the birth of the Jewish state. Israel's Declaration of Independence was signed in 1948 in the midst of a civil war between the Arab and Jewish populations of British Mandatory Palestine. A day later, the ongoing civil war was transformed into an interstate conflict between Israel and the Arab states. A combined invasion by Egypt, Jordan, and Syria, together with forces from Iraq, entered the former Palestine Mandate to attack the Jewish state. Fighting ended in July 1949. By then, Israel had secured its independence and increased its land area by almost 50% compared to the 1947 United Nations partition plan. Today, Israel's Independence Day, Yom Ha'atzmaut in Hebrew, is Nakba Day, Day of Catastrophe for the Palestinians, an annual commemoration of the displacement of Palestinians that preceded and followed Israeli independence. Also, I want us to make a short break here to address one of the biggest controversies of the war of 1948, the Deir Yassin incident. Some historians believe it was a minor incident that created a myth upon which the Palestinian refugees phenomenon was formed, whereas other historians see it as a big stain on Israeli military history. Let's watch this following report by I-24 News' Lauren Izo, then break it down from there.
On April 9th, 1948, history books tell us that a group of underground Israeli fighters enter a village in East Jerusalem and violently kill innocent Arab civilians. It becomes known as the Deir Yassin massacre. But was it really a massacre? Well, it depends who you ask.
יש לנו פה איזה מין עלילה, איזה מין פיברוק.
And here you have a massacre.
The year is 1948. Violence between Jews and Arabs is reaching its peak in a battle over the land of Palestine, which will soon be named the State of Israel. Arabs begin to carry out attacks on Jewish convoys and eventually create a blockade on the road which connects Tel Aviv and Jerusalem.
The underground forces of the Jews decided to took control on villages that blocked the road from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. And within these villages, one of the villages was Deir Yassin.
Meir Pe'il, who passed away earlier this year, was a colonel in the IDF, an Israeli left-wing politician and a military historian. In 1948, he was a commander of a unit in the Palmach, which was a rival to Etzel and Lehi. The massacre narrative developed from a report that was published and distributed by Pe'il. In the report, he said,
"In a quarry next to Givat Shaul, I saw 5 Arabs who were being led through the streets of the city. They were shot and killed. The village was full of dead bodies. It was clear that the Arabs were not killed during battle, but were lined up against a wall. With my own eyes, I saw some families whose women, children, and elderly were murdered, and their bodies were stacked on top of each other."
However, an intelligence officer of West Jerusalem named Mordechai Gichon, who arrived at the scene to document the outcome of the battle, said he did not find any evidence that a massacre had taken place.
ושאלתי אותו, תגיד לי, אתה ראית טבח? לא ראיתי טבח. ראית התעללויות בגוויות? לא ראיתי התעללויות בגוויות. אז אמרתי לו, רגע, יכול היה להיות טבח בלי שאתה רואה? אמר לי, לא.
One day later, Meir Pe'il approached Gichon to inquire about the report he wrote about the battle in Deir Yassin.
מודקה, איזה דוח כתבת? תכתוב דוח ציוני. מה זה דוח ציוני? דוח שיתאר שהיה טבח, כדי להשמיץ את אצ"ל ולח"י. אחר כך הוא בא ואמר שהיו שם צילומים והוא הגיע עם צלם. השאל אותו, מי הצלם? לא רצה להגיד. איפה הצילומים? אמר שאינם. נשאלת השאלה מדוע פיברקו את זה, והתשובה פשוטה. פה ניסו להטיל על קבוצה אופוזיציונית באותו זמן, לכלוך, שמנחם בגין, שהיה מנהיג אצ"ל ופופולרי, ואי אפשר לדעת מה יהיה, כדי שחלק גדול מהציבור לא יבחרו בו, ובן גוריון הוא זה שיהיה ראש הממשלה אחרי הבחירות.
Whether a massacre did or did not occur in Deir Yassin, the narrative that has developed until this day has somewhat overshadowed the documented historical details.
It is a symbol of mourning, of sadness, of tragedy. Maybe the most, I would say, concentrate, concrete example of the Nakba.
מה גרם לערביי ארץ ישראל להפוך להיות לפלסטינים? הייתה להם נכבה. מה זה נכבה? אסון. עכשיו אתה בא ואומר, איזה נכבה הייתה לכם? מה קרה לכם? ואז התשובה היא, גירשתם אותנו, רצחתם אותנו, עשיתם לנו את מה שהנאצים עשו לכם. איפה עשינו לכם? מי עשה לכם? בדיר יאסין. זאת אומרת, דיר יאסין זה המיתוס המכונן של התגבשות האומה הפלסטינית.
Professor Morris, back to you now. From your study, was the Deir Yassin incident so central to Palestinian history?
It was very important in the conflict in the sense that it received widespread media attention immediately afterwards, and this attention and the exaggerations in the way it was reported led to the undermining of Palestinian confidence, which in turn led to massive evacuation of Palestinian civilians and villages, leading to, in part, to the creation of the Palestinian refugee problem. So this was a major element in the creation of the refugee problem.